Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spurs Up Show, best Gamecocks podcast on the internet. Today is Thursday, April the 8th, 2021. Today's show, I break down this weekend series as Gamecocks baseball returns to SEC action, coming home to Founders Park to take on the Missouri Tigers. Friday at 7 o'clock, Saturday at 4, and Sunday at noon, guys. I'll break down the series in its entirety. First, we'll talk Missouri, their pitching, their hitting. Also, of course, South Carolina, the weekend rotation, what to watch for, key player for this weekend. Much more is going to Gamecocks return home for SEC play. Also, guys, we got your listener questions and a fantastic conversation as I actually join Blair Wheeler on the Blair Wheeler Project, a show all about golf. We talk Gamecocks women's golf, men's golf, my time as a caddy, the Masters, of course. Happy Masters week, Masters Thursday, the Masters beginning today. We talk about all that, much more, guys. We got a packed show here on a Thursday, and it's all brought to you by our friends over at Upstate Movers Group. Guys, Upstate Movers Group, superior moving service. They bring care and attention other companies can't offer because they're just too busy maintaining trucks and profiting off them instead of focusing on service. Guys, service is what separates Upstate Movers Group from the competition. They're not a trucking company. They're a moving services company, and they're also employee-owned co-op. Their movers are paid twice the industry average, and everyone on the crew is invested in your success. They have dedicated professional crew members, and they also offer black glove service. They offer end-to-end packing services, custom crating and packaging for special items, and cleaning services as well. They're founded by Greenville natives and University of South Carolina alumni, guys, so a Gamecock-owned small business. They also offer 20 years of project management moving experience, and they can offer logistics and solutions that traditional moving companies simply do not have the skills for. Guys, whether you're in the upstate or across the state of South Carolina, if you have any moving needs in 2021, be sure to check out our friends over at Upstate Movers Group. You can find them on social media at Upstate Movers Group. Of course, if you have any other questions, go to their website, upstatemoversgroup.com. That's upstatemoversgroup.com. Be sure to check them out and tell them Chris from the Spurs Up Show sent you. Let's get it. Saddle here on a Thursday. Folks, what's going on? I'm Chris Phillips, host of the Spurs Up Show. As always, appreciate you guys tuning in. And let me be the first to wish you a very happy opening round of the 2021 Masters. Yes, this might have turned to a golf podcast today. I don't know yet. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to stick to Gamecocks baseball, but very excited for the Masters. Everybody that's tuned in that's a big golf fan. This is like our favorite week of the year, obviously. Starting today, of course, the Masters round 1, opening things up today at Augusta National today in Augusta, Georgia. Very exciting. Of course, holds a special place in my heart. But again, we are focusing on the Gamecocks today, but we do have a great conversation that I mentioned in the intro. My buddy Blair Wheeler, who does a really, really good job with the Blair Wheeler Project, which is a golf podcast, again, focuses on golf. They have a ton of guests. We actually talked about it, guys. If you have not seen, Gamecocks women's golf is freaking killing it right now. They're ranked like number 1 in the country, and the men's golf team's doing really well. Of course, we talked the Masters. Well, I figured why not? You know, I'm switching it up a little bit. Normally, we have former Gamecocks on or whatever, but I jumped on his show about 2 days ago, and I was like, you know what, Blair, why don't we put the audio from that on this podcast on my Thursday show? What better way than to bring in the first round of the Masters with that conversation? So, again, you guys will hear that later. But, again, let's stick with Gamecocks baseball because we've got a big weekend upcoming at Founders Park this weekend as South Carolina looks to bounce back from that tough midweek loss Tuesday night against UNC when they take on the Missouri Tigers and return to SEC play this weekend. Again, guys, Friday at 7 o'clock, Saturday at 4, Sunday at noon. You can watch those games. Friday and Saturday will be on the SEC Network Plus, and then Sunday actually going to be on the big channel. If you can't make it, SEC Network, the big channel Sunday at noon. But Friday and Saturday, SEC Network Plus. So you have to stream those two. And again, 7, 4, and 12 are the first pitches. But again, of course, Missouri, the SEC East rival, their head coach, Steve Beazer. Been a rough year so far for the Tigers, guys. Just call it what it is. And again, this is a team that was not picked to do a lot in the preseason, picked at the bottom of the SEC East, of course, down there with Kentucky. They're 10-17 overall right now, 3-6 in the SEC, but winners of their last two straight. They actually took the series last weekend from Texas A&M, which was very surprising to me. I think was very surprising to a lot of people. When you look at their record thus far, we'll go back. They actually lost their last midweek game last week against Kansas. And guys, I was reading up on this. Get this. They were up 9-2 in the 8th inning and gave up 8 runs, I think, in the top or bottom of the 8th. So really, really tough loss there. Of course, they got swept by Vanderbilt 10-2, 11-3, and 3-1, which I don't think any of us are surprised by that result. And they lost 2 of 3 in their first SEC series to the Kentucky Wildcats by scores of 10-2, 5-4, and then won that Sunday game 5-3. But again, it's been a struggle for Missouri, no questions. 10-17 overall, 3-6 in the SEC, a team not picked to do much this season. And the stats tell you why when it comes to this Missouri team. Let's dive into the statistics, guys, and we'll start on the bump. We'll start with the pitching. Yikes. Ouch. That's the best way to put it when it comes to Mizzou pitching. A 7.15 team ERA. Let me say that again. A 7.15 team ERA. And if you guys want to know what their ERA is in SEC play, it is a 6.58. So even a little bit worse in the non-conference. But a 7.15 team ERA. That'll do it to anybody. I mean, you take a look at the ERAs. They're all inflated. You're going to hear it with their starting rotation. Their starting rotation looks like this, by the way. Right-handed pitcher Spencer Miles, 1-5 with a 7.01 ERA. That's their Friday guy, folks. A 7.01 ERA. Their Saturday guy, right-handed pitcher Seth Halverson, I think I'm saying that right, Halverson, 3-1 with a 6.48 ERA. And their Sunday guy, right-handed pitcher Zach Heiss, 0-3 with a 5.62 ERA. So again, when you've got a starting rotation where you don't have a pitcher that has an ERA below 5.6, you are struggling. There is no other way to put it. And you look at some of these ERAs. I mean, again, some of them are limited action, but still 99, 67.5, 30.86, 27, 20.65. Then you start to get 11.77, 9.64, 8.22. It has been an absolute struggle for Missouri to this point. We're talking about a pitching staff and 230 and a third innings pitch. They've walked 184 guys. They've given up 245 hits. Let's see. How many home runs have they given up? They've given up 23 long balls in 27 games. So not terrible. Batting average against, though, guys, 273. Opponents are hitting 273 against the Missouri pitching staff. Okay? I mean, that is getting tattooed. And you even look at last week, they won the series against Texas A&M. At Texas A&M, by the way, which was really, really shocking. But they lost that Thursday game, guys, because, again, they played Thursday through Saturday. They lost the Thursday game 16-2. So pitching has been a major, major issue for this Missouri squad. When you look at South Carolina, the way they've swung, and, of course, they're coming off that game against UNC where they didn't swing it all that well, only had 3 hits. Maybe this is going to be just what the doctor ordered for this Gamecocks lineup, especially at Founders Park. But, hey, don't leave the hitters out because the hitting hadn't been much better for Missouri. They're hitting 242 as a team right now, but that doesn't tell the whole story, guys. Because in SEC play, they're hitting 210. Yes, that's right. They're hitting 210 in SEC play. 6 home runs, 30 RBI. 210. Not good. Not good at all. 20 home runs as a team, 350 on base percentage. This team, by the way, runs a lot. 29 for 38 in stolen bases. Haven't run quite as much in SEC play, but I'll tell you what, in the non-conference, they must have ran their tails off because 38 stolen base attempts, that's a ton. I mean, this is a team that's going to, when they get guys on base, is going to put guys in motion. Let's talk about players to watch for this Missouri group. You got to start with infielder Andrew Kiefer, hitting 318, leading the Tiger squad, 1 home run, 11 RBI. Then you move into infielder Torrin Montgomery, hitting 250, 4 home runs and 18 RBI. And then infielder Mark Verling, hitting .276 with 2 home runs and 13 RBI. But overall, it's been a mixed bag. Missouri's dealt with injuries. They've dealt with a lot of inconsistencies. Did not have a midweek game this week, by the way, so they'll come into this series fresh, of course. But certainly a team you talk about, and again, this is stating the obvious, but not up there with the upper echelons of the Floridas, the Vandys, the Arkansas, the Mississippi States, the Ole Misses. Certainly not in that category. I don't even think they're in a category with the Georgias, to be honest with you. Because I think in the preseason, people looked at the SEC East like this. Florida and Vandy in a league of their own. And again, that was the preseason, whatever. South kind of swept Florida. But this is how people looked at it. Florida and Vandy are in Tier 1. Then you had South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee in Tier 2. And then in Tier 3, you had Missouri and Kentucky. And I think that's really where Missouri falls and is going to fall once the dust settles this season. But again, let's move to the South Carolina side of things. Mark Kingston really surprised me on Wednesday afternoon when he announced his starting rotation. Right-handed pitcher Thomas Farr on Friday, of course. Right-handed pitcher Brandon Jordan on Saturday. TBA for Sunday. My question was this: has Will Sanders changed his name to TBA? I understand, they want to leave the door open for just in case you need Will Sanders on Friday or Saturday. But it's a little surprising to me because I think if everything goes to plan and you get a solid 6 or 7 out of Farr, a solid 6 or 7 out of Brandon Jordan, Will Sanders is going to get the ball on Sunday. There's just no question. But I think it's a little bit of gamesmanship. I think it's a little bit of they want to leave the door open just in case, God forbid this happens. But if one of your guys on Friday and Saturday maybe doesn't pitch well or they get knocked out early or whatever it may be, they want to have the option to say, okay, we can throw Will Sanders out there. We're not pegging him in that Sunday role and, having to make that adjustment on the fly, if you will. So Farr, Jordan, and TBA, the rotation, which was the same exact rotation going into Athens last weekend. Let's move into what to watch for, guys. And the first thing I'm looking for is this, just overall the bounce back from that tough midweek loss in Charlotte. And again, I know a lot of fans are going to want to see a big-time bounce back. You got a minimum win 2 or 3. You got a minimum sweep. I'll say this. I know this team's going to bounce back the right way. We've seen it all year from the adversity and overcoming struggle and overcoming whatever this team has run into. They've shown the resiliency. They've shown the toughness. They've shown the mental fortitude. And I expect them to do that yet again this weekend. I have absolutely no concerns. But it's like I told you guys after that loss. Hey, it's just a midweek loss. No big deal. But the big thing is you cannot carry that over into the weekend. You need to see this team, especially at the plate. That's the big thing. The pitching is going to show up. I think we all feel good about that. At the plate, though, returning home to Founders Park, you got to get the bats going yet again. And this is a Missouri pitching staff that you should take advantage of. No question. No questions asked. So just seeing a ball club approach this weekend the right way. And again, I think it's a non-issue. They will. I have no concerns about that. They will. I think we're going to see this team bounce back the right way. They'll be excited. They'll be fired up. They'll be glad to be back at home. And I think they'll attack this series the right way. No questions asked. If you can't get fired up for an SEC series at home, like I said before, you just simply don't have a pulse. Something else I'll be watching for, guys, and like I said, the hitting's the question mark, right? How will the hitters adjust their approach against a struggling Missouri staff? Like I said, guys, 7.15 team ERA. I know against A&M the rest of the way last weekend, they held the Aggies to 2 runs and 3 runs on Friday and Saturday, respectively, after giving up 16 on Thursday in that game 1 of that series. But the numbers are the numbers. A 7.15 team ERA. This is by far the worst pitching staff you faced this season. It falls in the same category, I would say, with the Daytons of the world. I think it's probably on that level. And maybe that's a stretch. Maybe that's a little bit too much. But you guys understand what I'm saying. By far, this is going to be the worst pitching staff you've seen to this point in SEC play. Right? And these guys are still SEC arms. Give them credit. And you can get beat any weekend in the SEC. So I think for our hitters to think they could just roll their helmets out there and, we're going to score 10 runs. Obviously, I don't think that's the right mindset and approach. But how does the approach change? Because Mark Kingston said it after the game Tuesday. And I thought he hit the nail on the head when he just said, and I saw the same thing. You only struck out 8 times in that game, right? He only struck out 8 times. But the problem was with the approach being so jumpy, being so anxious. The perfect example of it was the ninth inning. David Mendham hits a double. You've got a guy on second, one out. You got a chance to win the ball game. You've got Brennan Malone and Jeff Heinrich coming up, and they both swing at the first pitch and make weak contact. For whatever reason, I don't know if it was playing in the big shiny ballpark. I don't know if it was playing against North Carolina. I don't know if it was a mixture of the two. I don't know if it was maybe our guys coming off of a big weekend at Georgia where you hit a ton of home runs. Everybody was trying to be the hero, maybe. I don't know. But I want to see the approach get back to what we saw in Athens and really what we've seen to this point this season with a group that, yes, they can drive the baseball. Yes, they can hit home runs, but a group that's selective too. That's what's made this lineup really hard to pitch to. I think this team's gotten a lot better and cut down on the strikeout number. I really do, because strikeouts are going to happen, guys. In this day and age of baseball, college baseball, pro baseball, it's all about hitting the long ball. It's all about hitting the home run. Guys are going to strike out. Bottom line, they're going to strike out. Strikeouts are up all across baseball. It's just going to happen. But I think our guys have done a much better job of being selective and hitting their pitch. Not necessarily saying, okay, I've got one pitch and I can't make an adjustment. Like if I love the fastball away, if he's peppering me in, oh, well, tip my cap. No, you got to make an adjustment there. You got to make an adjustment. I think our guys have done a good job doing that. But I want to see, do the approaches change at all? Especially, again, we love to hit at Founders Park. We love hitting in Columbia. I don't think it's any secret that this team's offensive approach is built for Founders Park and parks like it. So again, it's no secret. This Missouri pitching staff has struggled. 7.15 team ERA. And I think, like I said earlier, this could be just what the doctor ordered for a Gamecocks lineup that didn't swing it to its capabilities on Tuesday and will be looking back to build momentum offensively and get things rolling in the batter's box. Another intriguing storyline, guys, for the Friday game specifically, the game tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, and what I'm watching for, does Thomas Farr get the first SEC win of his career? Because like I told you guys after the Georgia series, Thomas Farr is running some bad luck because he's pitched well enough to win. I would say basically every single SEC start. The Florida game was debatable, but he's given you a chance to win basically, I'd say, every time he's pitched. And he's just had some really, really bad luck. For whatever reason, hasn't gotten the run support. The games have been really tight down the stretch, and he hasn't been able to get an SEC win. Doesn't have any in his career. Is tomorrow night the night where he gets that first SEC win? Again, I expect Thomas Farr to pitch brilliantly tomorrow. We're talking about a Missouri lineup. Some solid players for sure, and if they get on base, they can cause havoc. Again, 29 for 38 stolen bases, but hitting 242 as a team. I don't think anything, this isn't going to be a lineup. He's nothing that Thomas Farr certainly hadn't seen, or the Gamecocks pitching staff hadn't seen. I don't think it's a better lineup than obviously Florida, than Vanderbilt, than any lineup you've seen in the SEC. Heck, I don't think this lineup's better than North Carolina's. So I'd expect Thomas Farr to have another fantastic night, to have a lot of success. I'm hoping to see Skylar Meade let him go in the game. Let him go beyond 78 pitches. Why not? And you'd also hope, too, like I said, his offense is finally going to give him some run support, some real run support. Gamecocks haven't scored a lot of runs on a Friday night. And I understand it's Fridays. It's going to be a tight, low-scoring ball game, whatever. But Texas A&M put up a 16 spot on Mizzou in game one. So I'll be very intrigued to see, and I know this team's probably motivated in that way, too. I think this team's probably like, hey, man, we got to get our guys' first SEC win. This is ridiculous. We got to get our guys' SEC win. We got to take care of business for him. And like I said, I think they'll do that. So Thomas Farr is tomorrow night, the night against the Missouri Tigers. We see him notch his first SEC win of his career. Something else to watch for. Moving back to the Gamecocks lineup. And we heard the news Tuesday, basically at first pitch of the North Carolina game, that Braylon Wimmer was out due to a death in the family, which, first things first, prayers up to the Wimmer family, to Braylon himself. You hope everything's okay and that they're able to get through that as a family. Mark Kingston updated his status on Wednesday afternoon, saying that they were hopeful that Braylon Wimmer would be back in the lineup on Friday, tomorrow night. And I think that's just what to watch for. His status overall, is Braylon Wimmer back in the lineup? Again, we don't know a lot about the situation. We all we know is that there's a death in the family. So you just pray for Braylon Wimmer. You pray for his family. You pray that the family comes through on the other side of it, and they can cope with things. And again, it's a situation where as fans we can sit here and say, oh, selfishly, oh, come back, come play, whatever. But you just pray everything's okay on his end. So Braylon Wimmer's status, obviously something to keep an eye on, and just the main thing, the number one thing is that you pray he comes back and is able to maybe use the game of baseball to get away from everything, to kind of shut off the outside world and to remove his mind from that stuff. It's people use different things. They use different outlets. I know when I was a ball player, getting to the field and shutting off everything and shutting off the outside world, it was like therapy for you. It really was. It was like therapy. So interesting to see what will happen with Braylon Wimmer and if he'll be available for Gamecocks baseball this weekend, because, of course, that's a big piece in this South Carolina lineup. Back to the mound, something I'll be watching for. And, again, it's just fun to watch this Gamecocks pitching staff work. The pitching looking to continue to dominate. You'll have another opportunity this weekend. Like I told you guys, and I don't think this weekend's going to be the weekend, but I think there is going to come a weekend where your hitting is going to have to pick up your pitching in some way. And again, I don't think it's going to be this weekend, but it's crazy, guys. Just a little side note. I was looking back at the last time South Carolina played UNC when we were talking a midweek game. And I was looking back at that 2019 season because that's the last time they played each other. And I was looking at some of the scores. Guys, you guys probably forgot like how bad our pitching was at that point. I mean, we were giving up 20 runs. We gave up 22 runs to Vandy in a game. We gave up 24 runs to Mississippi State in a game. Like, I couldn't even fathom that happening right now. So do not take it for granted what this pitching staff is doing and continues to do. From your starters to guys like Andy Peters and Julian Bosnick and Brett Carey and Jack Mahoney and Wesley Sweat and Danny Lloyd, and what this staff is doing, continuing to build confidence, continuing to give you chances to win ball games. I'm excited to watch this pitching staff work this weekend. Again, I think it's a Mizzou lineup. There are some decent pieces, don't get me wrong, but you should be able to have success as long as you continue to fill up the strike zone, as long as you throw strikes. That's the biggest thing for any pitching staff. But as long as you throw strikes, I think this staff is going to continue to dominate. I think this staff is going to continue to give you more than ample opportunities to win baseball games. No question. So looking for this pitching staff to continue to build confidence, build momentum, and dominate, that's something I'm watching for. And the last thing, guys, I think the last big storyline and thing I'm looking for, and this might be more on the fan side of things, because, in that locker room from Mark Kingston all the way down through the team, the expectation each and every single weekend, their expectations to go 1-0 every day. And that sounds like coach speak, whatever, but it really is. Go 1-0 today. Go 1-0 today. If you keep doing that, you keep winning ball games, good things will happen for you. So their expectation every weekend is to win every game they play, right? But from the fan side of things, we can break this down, critique it, whatever, look at different scenarios. And the thing one of the things I'm most looking forward to, and again, I think this is more of a fan-centered question, is it sweep or bust this weekend? Is it sweep or bust? And I'll tell you guys up front right now, I will never complain winning an SEC series 2 out of 3. I never will. If you keep winning series, hey, if you win the series, you did your job. Bottom line, if you win the series, you did your job. And there's only been one SEC team that has swept Missouri, and that's Vanderbilt, who we know is pretty damn good. But with that being said, this does feel like one of those weekends, at home, you're coming off that tough Tuesday loss, and you look at the schedule. You got to go to LSU. You start that gauntlet next weekend. And I know LSU's 1-8 in SEC play, which is absolutely absurd, by the way. But you got to go to Baton Rouge and face LSU next weekend. Then you come home, you face Arkansas. Then you got to go, I believe the next one's at Ole Miss. Then you come home and face Mississippi State. Okay? So outside of Kentucky, who you've got later in the year, this might be the, I hate to say easiest, because there are no easy weekends in the SEC. But let's just call it what it is. This is probably the easiest weekend you have left, this one or Kentucky. And I think Kentucky's actually playing good baseball right now. So I'd probably say this weekend is the most sweepable weekend. I'll put it that way. Most sweepable weekend you have the rest of the way out. So while I'll say, if South Carolina goes out and wins 2 out of 3, I will not be disappointed. But it's a weekend like this you do want to take advantage of. Again, being at home. This is a big opportunity to build momentum. All these SEC wins, they're so valuable. They all count, right? They all count. They're all extremely valuable. Is it sweep or bust? That might be a little bit harsh. But certainly it's a series that we looked at in the preseason and said, okay, you got to at minimum take 2 or 3. You'd love to sweep at home. Take advantage at home. And again, all due respect to Missouri because they went on the road and took 2 or 3 from Texas A&M. But I think all fans look at this weekend and say, you got to at minimum win this series. At minimum. And a sweep is very doable. And I do feel that way. I think a sweep is very doable for South Carolina. But again, should be fun to watch. Should be interesting to see. Sweep or bust. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would love to hear. All right, let's move to key player this weekend. Key player for the weekend. And, different guys start seasons different ways and use weekends or games to kind of jumpstart their year and get going, if you will. Right? And so the guy I'm about to mention, we've seen slow starters come through Columbia, right? Like Carlos Cortez was a guy. He always started the year off slow for whatever reason. And I mean, heck, I'm talking about the year. I mean, heck, we're what, 27 games through a 56-game schedule. So I mean, we're over a third of the way, believe it or not, which is like almost sad to think about. We're the halfway point, which is very sad to think about. God, I want to cry now. But so we're farther along than starting off the season slow. But a guy that I think has been swinging it better of late, who I'd like to see come into his own. And again, some guys use weekends like this. You get hot in a weekend and all of a sudden you get the confidence and boom, your season's off and running. And I think this weekend, again, like I said, a pitching staff that is not very good. Let's call it for what it is. The stats reflect that. I think this is the perfect weekend for this guy to break out and to become a big-time threat in this lineup for the Gamecocks. And that key player, that guy I'm speaking of, is third baseman Brennan Malone. I will say this, the thing about Brennan Malone, because he was in the lineup at third base against North Carolina. And I think what you're seeing from Mark Kingston, because the third base position has been one where they've gone back and forth, of course, on, Malone, Heinrich, even Satterfield's got in there every now and then. But mainly Malone and Heinrich have gone back and forth. This is my feeling on that position. The thing I like about Jeff Heinrich is what you're going to get out of Jeff Heinrich each and every single time he takes the field. I think Jeff Heinrich just kind of is who he is. I know what to expect when I put Jeff Heinrich in the lineup. The intriguing thing about Brennan Malone is I don't know what to expect. That is good and bad. Because, listen, I've seen this kid swing it, man. This kid has power. All the potential is there. And potential is a scary word, right? Potential is a very scary word. But all of it's there. And I think if you're Mark Kingston, your best move right now is to keep Brennan Malone in the lineup and trust that eventually a good hitter is going to hit. Now, listen, if he goes the next 2 weeks without a hit, I get it, man. You can't just leave him in there. I totally understand. At some point, you got to put the best 9 out there that you feel give you the best chance to win. But the thing I do like about Brennan Malone is that even during this stretch where, he has not swung it as well as he'd like to, we'll put it that way. I mean, that's a given. He has continued, in my opinion, to be very patient and take good at bats. If you guys look, he's getting on base a fair amount. Getting on base a pretty fair amount. And he's swinging the bat, I think, not terribly. I mean, he had a liner Tuesday night that just an atom ball right at a guy. What are you going to do? But this weekend is important, not just for getting 3 wins against Mizzou, but it's important for Brennan Malone for the rest of this season. Because if you can get him hot, if you can get him fired up and have him in your lineup, I mean, that just adds another weapon to this lineup that I'd say we already feel good about. And I'll make that bold prediction right now, by the way. I think Brennan Malone goes yard this weekend. I think he hits his first home run of the season. I think he does. I think Brennan's going to have a good weekend. I think he'll be in the lineup all 3 games. And, I think the opportunity is there, and I'm really hoping this is the weekend we see it. We see the light bulb click, because that's what we're all waiting on, the light bulb to click for this guy. It's there. There's no question it's there. We just got to see that light bulb moment. I think you have the opportunity this weekend against, like I said, a Missouri pitching staff that's gotten flat out beaten up on this season. No question. So, key player for this weekend, third baseman Brennan Malone. And guys, that's going to wrap up my series preview for this weekend against the Missouri Tigers. Tune in tomorrow to hear my official prediction as the Gamecocks look to improve on their 6-3 SEC record. All right, no news and notes today. Nothing crazy happening, thank God, as of right now. But we'll move to the listener questions real quick. We have just one question. Sorry, guys. I was late to get the question box out. I apologize. Just one question. So Brennan_Smith47, you get the spotlight today. He says, what do you think the weekend rotation and outfield will look like next year? And that's a great question, by the way. The weekend rotation and outfield for next season. Now, I'll say this first, the disclaimer about the season next year. You're going to add a ton of freshmen. So that's obviously going to impact what both of those look like, right? If I would have projected this year's starting rotation at this point last year, let's say the season was normal, whatever, I would have had no clue. We didn't know who Will Sanders was. I didn't know Jack Mahoney was. I didn't know who, all these freshman pitchers were. Hardly even knew who Julian Bosnick was. So take it for what it's worth. But right now, if I had to predict, weekend rotation, because you will lose Thomas Farr and Brandon Jordan. I think right now, I would say Will Sanders will be your Friday guy. I think Jack Mahoney will be your Saturday guy. And either, I wonder if they'd slide Julian Bosnick back into the starting role, or does a guy like Mag Cotto get a shot? I don't know why he hasn't pitched of late, by the way, guys. I don't know if he's got like a strain or like they just haven't used him or what's going on. But I think that's a guy who has a ton of upside at South Carolina. I think that's a guy that's going to pitch a lot of meaningful innings. As far as the outfield, Braylon Wimmer's your center fielder, no question. What year is Josiah? Let's see. Josiah Seitler is a junior. So I'd imagine Josiah Seitler's back for his senior year. I'd have to think. So it'd probably be Seitler in left, Wimmer in center. Does a guy like Brandon Fields develop and take the right field or even left field spot? I don't know. I hope so. The kid's got all the talent in the world. He's got plenty of upside. He's got tools on tools, man. There's a reason he was a highly regarded prospect. It wasn't by accident. Kid's got tools. So I hope he comes into his own. But again, I would also say this too, because I was talking to my buddy about this like a couple of days ago. When you look at this team next year, though, and you think about all the guys you lose and stuff like that, this will be a team that I think, how you're seeing this year is very freshman heavy on the pitcher side. I think next year you're going to see it be very freshman heavy on the hitter side, which is exciting and also very scary because when you're relying on a bunch of true freshmen or even JUCOs in the SEC, that can make you a little bit nervous. But overall, that's my best guess for your starting rotation and your outfield for 2022. So, again, that's definitely subject to change. I think we should look back on this in a year and just see how close I was because I bet it'll be completely wrong. But who knows? We'll see. But, again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Do not go anywhere, though. Like I said, happy first round of the 2021 Masters. The Masters is officially back, getting going today. And what better way to celebrate that than talking a little golf. My buddy Blair Wheeler invited me on his podcast, The Blair Wheeler Project, a couple of days ago, and I was sitting there thinking I had my guest who was originally Taylor Stallworth, former Gamecocks defensive lineman. He canceled on me, which is okay. He had to go to the facility, whatever it is, what it is. We'll get him back on. But did this conversation with Blair a couple of days ago, and I was like, you know what? It makes sense. We got a lot of golf people, a lot of golf fans that tune in the Spurs Up show. Why not? We talked Gamecocks women's golf, men's golf, my career in golf, in regards to working in golf, stuff like that. Of course, we talked about the Masters, talked about gambling, all that good stuff. A really fun conversation. I appreciate my buddy Blair Wheeler for having me on his podcast, The Blair Wheeler Project. So again, guys, that's going to do it all for me for the Missouri series preview and everything else, guys. Thank you again so much for the love, support. Seriously, I truly appreciate you guys showing love to the content, sharing the content, and always rocking with us and what we do. So, guys, thank you so much. Now, enjoy this conversation with Blair Wheeler of the Blair Wheeler Project.
All right, folks, welcome back. Happy Masters Week. Today's guest, Chris Philly on Instagram. Chris Phillips runs the Spurs Up show. If you're not a Gamecock fan, you're missing out. One of the best Gamecock podcasts out there. So, Chris, thanks for hopping on the show, man.
I appreciate it, man. I'm not only just a Gamecock fan. I'm also, though, I'm glad to come on your show because I'm a big golf guy. My dad played college golf. I played competitive golf till I was 15. I'm from like the golf mecca, basically, North Augusta, South Carolina, right by Augusta, Georgia. So I'm excited to come on. Yeah,
I'm from Myrtle Beach, and you can say you're the golf mecca all you want, but hey, Myrtle Beach is. I mean,
when you got the National and Sage and Augusta Country Club, and I don't know, it feels like the golf mecca. For that,
I hear you. But I wanted to have you on the show because, like you said, you're from North Augusta. You have a lot of experience in the golf world, but to start it off, you caddied at Sage Valley, right?
Yeah. Yep. So I did.
Well, yes. We were just talking about it off air, and this is one of the first times non-Masters weeks you're not caddying. Yeah. So what was that experience like?
Yeah, so it's interesting how it came about, man. So like I said, I played competitive golf till I was 15. So like I played on the varsity team my freshman year. I wasn't a bad little player. Played on the varsity team my freshman year and at North Augusta High School. One of the things we got to do, the golf coach had the hookups, whatever. And Sage Valley is like probably, 15 minutes from where I grew up. I live off of exit 1. That's how you get North Augusta. Yeah. Sage Valley's exit 11. So, it's literally just 10 miles down the road. And so we got the opportunity to caddy there. I did it once, whatever. I was a freshman in high school. Didn't really think much of it. And then as my baseball career, I chose baseball over golf because it was one of those things where I loved golf, but I had a passion for baseball. And also, man, golf is just so freaking hard. And I was a hothead when I was younger. And so that's not a good mix, you know what I mean, when you're trying to play golf and you let your emotions get to you. And it's one of those things where baseball, it's a lot easier to see progress than in golf, where like you might get better, but your scores aren't really getting that much better. And it just gets really frustrating. Either way, whatever. Chose baseball, and I ended up playing with this kid that his dad was the caddy master at Sage Valley. Yeah. And so he had known that I'd played golf before, and it was something where when I was in college, and I actually transferred from Newberry and transferred back home to Augusta State University because I played college baseball at Newberry. And once I got
you and Patrick Reed, your alumnus.
Yeah. I graced the hallways as well, but I don't think he was there at the same time I was. But no, they were still
Rolex. Did you?
No. No, they were still nasty in golf, though, when I was there for sure. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they still are. But so when I came back home, though, basically he was just like, hey, I started working a little bit because my baseball career, I hung up the cleats. And he was just like, hey, man, if you want to come out here and caddy, like you can make really, really good money. It's all cash under the table. And, of course, Sage is a beautiful place. And, it's one of those things where, like, not everybody that caddies is a great golfer, of course. Not everybody that caddies even really knows the game of golf that well. Some people are just out there to get the money. But it's a huge plus and a bonus, right? If you know the game, for sure. So I figured it was something like, hey, I could be pretty good at it. And I went out there and tried it and did it. And, was able to meet a ton of great people, and like I said, I had perspective in the sense I was like, dude, I get to go to the golf course. So I did that on and off part-time from, literally like 2012, maybe 2011, all the way to like 2018. I was doing it on and off. And there were a couple of years in there where I actually did it full time, believe it or not. And the thing that I love and hate about golf, and I'm sure you probably feel the same way, there are no days off in golf. The sun comes up, you're working. You're at the golf course. Like I've talked to pros about it. And again, caddies and just other people. It's like, it's a grind. I mean, when the sun's up, we're playing. So, but it was a hell of an experience, man. I mean, I met so many cool people, and I caddied Masters Week, like I was telling you, a ton of years. I mean, again, the only 2 years that I really didn't, and I'm not this year, obviously, which I'm very thankful for because I get to actually watch the golf on TV. But 2016, I had moved to Charlotte and started in the corporate world and stuff like that. Decided, you know what? And I had the opportunity to go home and get the money because, I mean, you make great money during Masters Week. I was like, you know what? I'm going to just enjoy the golf, sit back, whatever. And then last year, I mean, when the pandemic hit, because I was finally living in Columbia and doing, the Spurs Up show stuff full time, whatever. Yeah. So caddied a ton of Masters Week, but I mean, dude, I got to meet so many good people from all over the world. Was in a group with Aaron Boone, who's the general manager of the Yankees. I was in a group with Colin Montgomery. I met guys from Germany and Australia, and the Australians are nuts, by the way. Like, they're fun.
Absolutely.
They're so much fun.
Yeah.
Guys from Texas, they're incredible. Those dudes are, because everybody's coming out there to have a great time. Everybody's in town for the week. They're, drinks are flowing. Everybody's, you've got your morning groups who are getting out there before they head to Augusta. You got your afternoon groups who go to Augusta in the morning and then play in the afternoon. It's just, I mean, it's a blast. It's crazy. But, I will tell you, 1 year I did this, and I swore I'd never do it again. I did 36 holes 5 days in a row. And
oh my God,
when I tell you my feet were just killing me. But no, the life of a caddy, man, it's interesting. I got to caddy for Will Muschamp. I'm sure you probably remember seeing that. And I got to meet, more. I met people from Golf Illustrated.
So I have a question about the Will Muschamp thing, and I'm glad you brought it up. Was that before or after you went on Instagram?
Pre-fire Muschamp.
Pre-fire Muschamp.
That was May of 2019. That was before I'd even moved to Columbia, and that was pre-UNC game. Put it that way. So I was still a pro Muschamp guy. I was still, as pro Muschamp as you could be at that point. So
and for those people that don't know what I'm talking about when I say is that pre or post fire Muschamp, Chris was at a game. The life of a Gamecock fan,
right.
If you don't know, it's a roller coaster. I've been a Gamecock fan my entire life. Both my parents went there, and I'm sorry if you can hear a baby screaming in the background. I have 8-month-old
dad
twins.
Dad life.
So both my parents are Gamecock alumnus, and we've been saying, wait till next year. For me, for 32 years, for my mom, I won't say the exact number, but her entire life, right? Yeah. It's always a wait till next year thing. Every time we think we got a good coach, we thought we had it with Lou Holtz, and then he left, and we thought we had it with Spurrier, and then we had it for a little bit, and then he left in kind of a dumpster fire, and then Will Muschamp comes in, and then anyways, you got it going, and then we lose to the Citadel.
Yeah, lose the Citadel, and then that year, the UNC thing, not to talk everybody's ear off that's tuning in, because, again, a lot of people probably aren't Gamecock fans, but lose a game you should win to a freshman quarterback with a first-year head coach against a team that I think won like 2 or 3 games the year before. So you can just say things were not very not very positive in Gamecock land. And when you call for the head coach's head, things get kind of interesting on the business side of things. But back to the golf thing, though, man, I just want to say, like, Sage Valley was an awesome experience. There's a ton of guys out there I still know, and I still know the pro out there. And again, I think, honestly, one of the reasons I'm able to do what I do now with, because I really believe everything happens for a reason. I think one of the reasons I'm able to interview the people I'm able to interview, and how we're able to sit here and I'm able to talk to you, is from meeting those people. I mean, dude, I've met CEOs, pro athletes, people of high status, where it's like I got so comfortable just talking to people, just having conversation, just bullshitting with them. Yep. It just kind of became second nature. It's like I don't get like the starstruck feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so many famous people that were out there that, I mean, I was standing next to Bryson DeChambeau. He was literally, it was the week before the Masters. He was out there practicing. It's just like no big deal. DeChambeau is just out there. I mean, I was also able to caddy in the Junior Invitational, which is like the biggest junior tournament in the world. I think it's the top 54 or top 60 juniors in the entire world. I caddied for a kid the last couple times I did it. His name's William Mao. He plays for Pepperdine now, and they are nasty. They are really good. I think they just finished third at the tournament down there at Augusta at Forest Hills. So, I mean, I definitely got an extensive background in golf, man. And while I was doing that too, there was about a 8-month stretch I worked at Augusta Country Club, which, if you're familiar with the Augusta National and kind of golf around that area, you'll know that the Augusta Country Club actually borders Augusta National.
Yeah.
So fun. I'm sure you knew this, but I was going to say fun story is that Augusta Country Club was there first. So when the National built 12 and 13 tee box, they bought that land from Augusta Country Club.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes. So they bought that land to build those holes. And then when Augusta just did their, I guess, refurbishment of 13 tee box or whatever the heck they did or whatever.
Just extended it, to be honest.
They tore out number 9. So that was number 9 right here for Augusta Country Club. And then you had the 13 tee. So they tore that out. Augusta National paid to have it all rebuilt, plus gave them like $20 million. I mean, from the National, money's not anything. So no, Augusta Country Club, that's one hell of a track too. If you never played there, hopefully you can meet a member or something, get up. I mean, I got to play it and it was great. But I mean, dude, growing up in the area, it's awesome. I mean, there's no week like Masters Week. I joke with people that, and if you're tuning in and you're in Augusta right now, I tell people that Augusta is the coolest city in the world for a week out of the year. And the rest of the time it's, it's kind of a shithole, to be honest, but no, it's a great week, man. It's so awesome. And, I've got to go to the Masters. Obviously I still have fond memories of going to like practice rounds with my dad. And I got to go on Sunday in 99, watch Jose Maria Olazabal win. I went 2008 Sunday and watched Trevor Immelman win. My dad was there in 2005 when Tiger chipped in on 16. Probably one of my favorite Masters memories, me and my dad watching together in 2004 when Phil won, and we were huge Phil guys. And my dad was like literally shedding a tear because he was so happy Phil finally broke through. So it's awesome, man. It's really cool, especially for the people in that local area. It's a really cool week and it means a lot, but it's like golf is kind of part of the fiber of that area. It's neat.
Yeah. It is for sure. It's a part of the fiber of like the whole state of South Carolina, really, and Georgia, right? Like, because Augusta, if you aren't familiar with like South Carolina and Georgia geography, Augusta is on the border. Like to get to the
literally
South
the
Carolina,
Savannah River separates Augusta and North Augusta or Georgia and South Carolina. Yeah.
There's like maybe 5 miles from Augusta National to the South Carolina side of the state border. Yeah. And I've tried for 26 years to get tickets. I'm 0 for 26. Maybe next year.
With the connections. Come on, you can't have a golf podcast and not have connections to get.
Well, maybe next year.
I was going to say this year I could see could be very tough. It's very limited.
I got something we're working on for next year. So next year, I feel positive about
Get your PXG buddies to throw you some tickets.
Calling in a favor to Gary Player. Let's keep it moving. I wanted to talk about the Augusta National Women's Amateur specifically because of the Lady Gamecocks that showed up and play. And I'm going to butcher their names because it's a French girl and a girl from Spain who, and I had no idea that the Lady Gamecocks, the women's golf team, was so highly ranked. Right. And you said it off air.
Number one in the country. Yeah.
Number one in the country.
Yeah.
So that was huge. And
doing work.
I'm going to try this in a French accent. Bouchard or Boucher, perhaps?
Yeah, I think it's Bouchard. I was going to say, I'm going to butcher the names too. So I don't know. Like, I'll let you go first, but
I'll go first. It's my podcast. And I'm sorry, Pauline, if I butcher your name, but Pauline Bouchard finished tied for third. And then Anna Pele. Yeah, I have a Spanish minor from Coastal Carolina University. So take that as it's worth. Yeah. But Anna tied for 13th, I believe, if I'm looking at this right.
Yeah, I was going to say Bouchard, too, is a sophomore.
12. She was we were talking.
12. Yeah, she was solo 12th. Bouchard's a sophomore, though, and we were talking off air. She set a record with 7 birdies in the final round. So she had 7 birdies, had 5 bogeys. So she finished with a 2 under 70 for the round. So I love that, man. At Augusta, you got to be aggressive. I like that.
It's crazy to think that, like, all these girls are between the ages of Paris Helinski. Ryan Helinski, former Gamecock quarterback's cousin, was out there playing. I've had her on the podcast. She's 16, right? And she missed the cut, didn't play the weekend, but she still shot in the 70s at Champions Retreat, which is right there in Augusta as well, or North Augusta. And then these girls on the weekend were shooting like 73, 72 at Augusta National from the members' tees. Like, that's no joke.
Yeah,
I was impressed by the whole crowd.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, that's really playing, man. And like you said, we mentioned, I mean, what the Gamecocks women's program has done, and really as a whole, man, women's sports at South Carolina, is really carrying the torch right now. I feel like with
Jeez.
basketball and then golf and everything. But no, yeah, it's really cool to think about, man. I think it's so awesome that they, Augusta National made that decision to have this event, give these young women the opportunity to display their skills. Because again, it's funny, again, working at Sage Valley and caddying out there, I've had, I think there was actually one time I caddied in a group, like a college golf team, female college golf team. Like those girls can play, dude. It's not like a joke. They can really, really play. I mean, obviously, they can't hit it as far, whatever, but like they can play. So to see them do what they did and represent South Carolina the way they did. And again, I can only imagine, it's people's dreams to play out at Augusta National, and just hear them talk about, 3, 5, 12, 15, 16, just recapping everything. Like I said, that's something they'll definitely remember forever. But no, it's awesome to see, man, for sure. Like I said, I'm really glad the Nationals putting on the event. I'd have to imagine it's been a huge success for them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what their metrics are for success, but if you want to talk about like every guy in my neighborhood, everybody that I talk to, everybody that's in my circle, we don't watch LPGA Tour golf. Yeah. We don't watch women's golf. Sorry for the ladies out there. Yeah. I don't watch that. But I tuned in and I watched the Augusta National Women's Amateur. It was so intriguing to see because, they're hitting from spots. And the reason why I enjoyed watching this tournament, and I will probably tune into some more LPGA Tour events, is because they're hitting roughly the same clubs I would be. So instead of going out there and watching Bryson or Dustin or even Jordan Spieth, who's a relatively shorter hitter, hit from like 30 yards back from the back tees, and then they have a 9-iron in or an 8-iron in or whatever it is. These girls didn't have that. And they're going to be hitting the same yardages, roughly like 260 driver, and then they have a 7-iron from 150 or something. I don't know. But it was cool to see the way they approached the course and the spots they were ending up in that were a little different than the men.
Yeah, and you think to just specifically the National and how much different it'd play for them. I think of, really every single hole, but I think like 2 is going to play so much different. 3 is going to play completely different. I mean, most of these PGA Tour guys are driving the green, or they're chipping on the next shot. I mean, 4 is already a monster. 5 is such an underrated hole, that dogleg left up the hill. That's such a tough golf hole. 8 and 9, even that pair of par 4s, and then you think of the back 9 amen corner, the way it plays. 17, 18, the way it plays. So no, it is interesting. You're right. It's cool. It's like almost a different game, and like you said, you can almost relate more to it because let's face it, most of us aren't hitting our driver 325, 330, 340, whatever. Like
not me.
No, most of us are. And I'll be honest. Like if I catch it, I can smoke it 300. Most of us are like realistically averaging like 260, 270. So it's like, it's cool to watch them and be like, you almost relate to it a little bit more in regards to the way they're playing the golf course and strategizing. So it is neat to watch it in that regard.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. So I was excited to watch that, and we'll continue to watch that in the future and look forward to see what what Augusta National has next. But main event, let's move on to the Masters. What's your thoughts this year? I mean, we're back in spring. We're back in April. We had the November Masters, which was weird.
Yeah.
It was still cool. It was great to watch. Glad Dustin won because he's a relatively local dude.
Coastal guy. Gamecock fan.
Yeah. Native of Columbia.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought him up. Have you heard the story about how he chose Coastal?
I haven't. I feel like I've heard things, but I don't think I've heard the actual story. I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know if it's true. I don't know if the story is true, but I'm making a habit out of saying stories I hear at this point. So the story was he was getting recruited by a few different schools. Carolina was one of them. And then he went on a family vacation to Myrtle Beach. And in true Dustin fashion, they drove by Conway, coming down 501, going into Myrtle Beach. And they drove by Coastal. He goes, man, I didn't know there was a school here. And they drove in off the road, and he walked into the head coach's office, and he goes, I want to play golf in Myrtle Beach. I want to come to school down here and go to school at the beach. And then he did.
Now, I definitely haven't heard that story. Since we're on the topic though of DJ stories before we get in master stuff.
Love it.
Really quick, my best friend, he goes to Harbor Town every year, which that you talk about the states of Georgia and South Carolina and then being the golf meccas. The reason is because there's so many great courses, and Harbor Town is definitely one of them. That's an awesome event. I know the players love it, kind of like that decompressor, that stress-free week after a crazy stress week in Augusta. But some buddy goes every year. They've got like a hookup with some Coca-Cola guy. Like they get like these VIP tickets or whatever. He met Dustin Johnson a couple of years ago. And I guess he was just kind of like the bystander or whatever while DJ was talking to these people. And DJ's saying like basically recollecting how he used to just go out and get shit-faced on the boat and then go play the next day in the round. And he's like, yeah, I can't really do that anymore. Like, but DJ used to be an animal. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. He used to be an animal.
He has the court, and this is another story, DJ's story. It may or may not be true. He has a course record up here. I live in Wilmington, North Carolina, right?
Right.
They played a college tournament out there, and he has the course record. He shot a 61 on a Pete Dye course, par 72, like sick. And his 7-iron's hanging up in the clubhouse. And the story goes is he went out for his practice round, played pretty well, and then disappeared. Nobody could find him, right? He rolls in the next day in a cab in the same clothes, covered in glitter and hammered 5 minutes before his tee time, and goes out and shoots the course record. Like, don't know if that's true, but that's the story the members have told me.
Oh, man. Sounds pretty on brand, though.
Sounds definitely on brand for DJ. So sure. Reigning champ, how do you think DJ is gonna fare this year? Is he gonna be able to retain the jacket, or we're gonna see somebody else wearing it?
I think, if I had to bet, I would say somebody else will be wearing it. But back to just the Masters getting back to its normal week. It's great to see. Like you said, it was weird last year. Thank God we even had a Masters. You know what I mean? I remember sitting basically at this point or a few weeks prior last year, and when they announced they were going to postpone the Masters, and just how, obviously devastated we all were at that point. You know what I mean? Because the Masters is the unofficial start of spring. Basically, this is when, like, okay, now sports are back. Everything is back now with Masters week. And, it's funny, like, I didn't, when I used to really, really watch golf, like, religiously, it was like golf season doesn't really start till the Masters gets going. Like, that's when you really start getting into golf season. But, I'm definitely looking forward to it, man. It's just, it goes without saying how great of an event it is. Obviously, DJ, the reigning champion, and he's actually the favorite. Him and DeChambeau the favorite right now at 10-1 odds. I was looking at the odds before we came on, and I think there's some really intriguing guys in regards to value, and you can grab them at. And I'd expect DJ to play well. It kind of feels like at this point, there's a couple of guys on tour that I don't know, and I don't follow golf as closely as you do anymore. But like, there's just some guys I'm like, even if he doesn't win, I expect him to probably finish like top 15. I think he's just gonna play well. You know what I mean? And I was happy to see DJ break through on that course too. But, how does Brooks Koepka respond from what he had the knee surgery, right? And he's obviously playing this week, or said he was. I know he was practicing yesterday, but he had the surgeries, come back from injury. How does he respond? Dude, Jordan Spieth is so intriguing to me.
Brooks had knee surgery like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm shocked he's playing. But it's the Masters.
Me too.
Koepka's going to win one before it's all said and done, bro. There's no question.
For sure.
I'd love to see, man, and I think everybody would. I'd love to see, which it's wild. He's 11-1 odds. I know he just won, but Jordan Spieth, man, what redemption it'd be for him to find a way to get the jacket back on. I think Justin Thomas is going to win one eventually. Like, there's a bunch of good guys in the field. So
yeah. So I'm pulling up this text. I was texting with my friend he's been on a heater as far as golf betting goes since like the Waste Management Open in mid-February, early February. He has like an 80% win rate right now. So on February 16th, I sent him a text and I said, I want you to put $100 on Jordan Spieth to win the Masters. February 16th, I said, I want you to put $100 on Jordan Spieth to win the Masters. He didn't do it. Now he's 11-1. At the time, he was 250-1.
Wow.
250-1. And I was like, put $100 on Jordan Spieth to win the Masters. I'm not saying I'm predicting the future, but I am saying I called it in February. Jordan Spieth winning the Masters. That's my pick for the week. I think Jordan's going to win. He's one of the only few needle movers in the game of golf, right?
Yeah.
It's Tiger,
Absolutely.
it's Rory, and it's Jordan. Like there's three of them.
Yeah.
Everybody else, like Brooks can win. It's cool. DJ can win. It's cool. Justin, I love Justin Thomas. He can win. It's cool, but it's not. It doesn't get people excited about golf, and for whatever reason, Jordan has that aura about him. So I'm calling Jordan Spieth.
Well, and I think people love, as Americans, we love to see a rise to glory. But you know what else we love to see? We love to see someone plummet. We love, admit it or not, people love to see someone crumble and come back down. It happened with Tiger, but they also love a good comeback story. So it's like, it's crazy how that works. But again, I'm just looking at these betting lines, dude. Like I look at guys like, you talk about just value. Tony Finau, 35-1. Hideki Matsuyama, 40-1. Hey, Bubba Watson, 85-1. Why not? Yeah. Maybe a guy that I look at, and someone that again I met through the Junior Invitational, Scotty Scheffler, 40-1. That's a good player.
Yeah.
It's a really
playing
good
well
player.
too. He's been playing really well.
Playing well. So, and I remember watching him at Sage Valley. He just tore that golf course up. So, it's all about, man. Me and my dad always talk about it every single year, bro. I mean, listen, these guys can all strike the golf ball beautifully. They can all hit their driver. They can all hit their irons. Who makes the most putts? That's just what it comes down to, bro. Who makes the most putts under pressure? That's bottom line. That's what it comes down to. The guy that putts the best is most likely going to win. So, like you said, speaking of Spieth, I mean, when he's on, there's not many that are better putters in the game than Jordan Spieth is.
No. And it's why Tiger won so much in the late 90s and early 2000s, right? He was lasered in. He did not miss. A gimme for him was like 10 feet, right? Like didn't miss under 10 feet. And Jordan was the same way for a while. And if he can get that confidence about him, I've always been told that Geller, his caddy, is basically just trying to keep him calm the entire round of golf and he's basically a therapist for 18 holes. Like, he's not managing Jordan's game. He's not telling him what to hit. He's just a therapist.
Yeah.
And if he can keep his head on his shoulders and stay calm and stay confident about what he needs to do, Jordan Spieth is like hard to beat.
Yeah. To Spieth and to everybody else, all I ask, if you're in the lead and on Sunday, I don't know why guys try to do this. Again, me and my dad talk about this every year. Why anyone would hit a cut into 12. Just hit a draw and be long back left and make your 3 or 4 and get out of there.
Yeah.
Because these guys try to get cute and they hit this cut, and that hole is literally going this way away from you.
Yeah.
So the farther right you go, the farther you have to hit it. I don't know why. I don't know. I mean, I'm not smarter than a PGA Tour pro, but I'm just like, bro,
might be.
Just go long left. If you go long, it's fine. Just get your 3 or 4 and get out of there. Because if you don't, you might be like Jordan and get a 12. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm sure if he's in the lead on Sunday, that's going to be one. It's like, okay, we got to get this hole. We got to figure this one out. This is the one right here.
Yeah.
All the pressure's on this hole.
Yeah.
So, if there's one guarantee, man, for this week is the dramatics on Sunday. And I just can't wait to watch it. There's just nothing like the back nine on Sunday at the Masters. Nothing.
Yeah. And the fact that there'll be fans there this year. There'll be some patrons.
Thank God. Thank God.
That'd be huge. That'd be huge. And I'm excited to see it. So, I mean, feet to the fire. Who's your pick to win the 2021 Masters?
I think I'm gonna go JT. I
think get his first major. Is that his first major? I think it is.
I think it would be, but he's so due, man. I think Justin Thomas is just way too good of a player to, at some point he's going to break through and get it. And, I know Spieth just won, and I'm a Spieth guy too. Like, I really do like Spieth. I'd love to see Spieth win. And, I don't really think there are many guys on tour that I dislike. I know everybody hates Patrick Reed, which whatever. I don't really care. I think he's fun to watch.
You didn't cross paths while you were there at Augusta?
No, not at all. Not at all. I'll tell you, man, who I used to hate growing up was Tiger. I hated Tiger. Me and my dad, we hated it's because he was like the villain. We were Phil, exactly. We were Phil guys. But once Tiger went away and all that stuff happened, I slowly started to realize, dude, golf is just not the same without him. We need him. Golf needs Tiger Woods. And it's a shame he can't play in this event, obviously. And And prayers up to Tiger dealing with the injuries and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. I like Thomas. I do. I know he's one of the favorites and whatever. I think John Rahm, too, could really make a push if he can just keep his emotions together.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember watching him play at Southern Cal, by the way. And I was like, how is this dude going to make it on the PGA Tour? Like, he has that traditional Spaniard, like, hothead. He's just like Sergio. He's just like Sergio in that regard. But
yeah,
I don't know. I like Thomas. I do. I like Thomas's game a lot, and I think it plays well to that course. And again, it's just all about getting hot with the putter, man. Whoever gets hot with that putter and can, like you said, make the most pressure-packed putts will be the guy that takes home the jacket. So,
yeah. So I asked my Instagram people, my community on Instagram, who they think's going to win. Let's see. Let's see what kind of comments I get on this one. And John Rahm, first one I see. John Rahm, Justin Thomas, DJ. Dude, there's a lot of Rahm comments.
If I had to pick a guy, let's be a little more fun. If I had to pick a guy that was just like totally under the radar, nobody's talking about going in this week, bro. Why is Gary Woodland 160-1?
That's a great question. Well, he won the U.S. Open like 3 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm just saying if you have to throw one out there that's just like, nobody's talking about. I mean, I think Gary Woodland would be a good pick.
Yeah.
Maybe Phil becomes the oldest to ever win it. Does he have one more run left?
I think not on the PGA Tour. Champions Tour.
Does skinny Phil have a run left in him?
Not on the PGA Tour. Sorry. I like Phil, but not on the PGA Tour.
No, I know. I agree with you.
Yeah. So, yeah, dude, Rahm's a big one on these comments.
Yeah.
Andrew Schauffele.
He's one of those players, I think, like you said, man, it's kind of like he's one of those needle movers,
Yeah.
I think he has the personality. Like people with a personality that they can kind of relate to. And, that's why like a guy like Reed is so love or hate, because he's, you're gravitated towards him and you feel some type of way about it. He's not a boring player, which I think golf needs more of. But now Rahm's a good player, man. I could definitely see it happen. Again, it's just all about getting hot with the putter and keeping your emotions in check. Like it's hard to believe Sergio won one, but
yeah, right.
Whatever.
See him melt down.
I know a lot of people hate Sergio too, so it is what it is.
Well, golf needs that villain. Golf needs that storyline because it's an individual sport, right? You don't have the team to pull for. You don't have the storylines you do about you don't like this coach, you don't whatever. Right? You don't have the rivalries that you do like South Carolina, Clemson. We have a huge rivalry in football, and it translates into every other sport. Auburn and Alabama, like everybody has those rivalries. Ohio State, Michigan. We don't have those in golf because players come and go. Right. And for so long, it was Tiger and Phil, or it was Greg Norman and like Seve or whoever. Right. We don't have that right now unless it's everybody versus Patrick Reed. Like, sorry.
Yeah. No, you make a good point. Everybody versus Patrick Reed for sure.
But it's like golf needs that storyline. Golf needs that villain. They need for people to get excited about it. It needs the personality.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know. You look at like a guy like Spieth and Thomas and even DJ. They kind of feel just like the regular country club kids. Like it's not really like they're just kind of whatever. I'm just out here to play golf and whatever. That's why I will say I appreciated Brooks so much when he was just winning every major. When he came out, was just like, yeah, I don't even play the normal events. He's like, I don't think winning a major is that hard. Like I loved it. But I also was like, Brooks, shut up, dude. The golf gods are going to nip you so fast. I mean, man, the golf gods are real. Like, there's two types of people in the game. Those who are humbled and those who are about to be. I'm like, Brooks, shut up.
Oh, yeah.
But you loved it at the same time. But it's like golf is just – it's almost like it's too hard of a game to be cocky. That's why it's so crazy what Tiger did. Because it's just too hard to be that cocky. Yeah. Because it'll get you. So
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. But so you got –
I got Thomas. I got Thomas.
JT.
I got JT.
I got Jordan Spieth. It's gonna be an awesome
week. Those two guys could be paired together on Sunday. I mean, honestly, that I think that would be awesome. But I think we could definitely see that. Those two guys are damn good players. So
yeah, I'd love to. I mean, it's gonna be such a great week. I'm so excited. This is one of my. It's the only time I'm excited for a Monday. Right? Like I'm excited. Like there's something to talk about on a Monday that's not just fabricated or like politics or something.
For
there's
sure.
sports to talk about on a Monday, which is great. There's gonna be fans there. Only thing that would make it better if I could get some tickets and go, but maybe next year.
It'll happen when it's meant to happen, my guy. When you go, dude,
I'm gonna open up a brand new credit card and just go ham bone in the merch.
Yeah, dude, I could tell you stories of people I know in that area that rent out their house. And my best friend's dad, he gets tickets every year, and I mean he's sold them for like $4,000 a piece. I mean,
wow.
I mean, it's but it's one hell of a week, man, and it's a one hell of an experience. I mean, it's the most gorgeous place you'll ever see. I mean, bottom line. I mean, I've seen some other pretty awesome courses. I've been up to Shinnecock and that part of the country and everything. And I haven't seen a ton of courses, but yeah, the National is just one of those that you just have to. My one funniest story, by the way, about Augusta National, I've actually hit a golf ball onto Augusta National, and I say onto, not at, because when I was working at Augusta Country Club, we were in 9 fairway, and it was the fall, right? So all the leaves had fallen. You could clearly see 13 fairway. I mean, just clear as day. And I was like, I'm going to take my 3-wood and just blast one into Augusta National. And sure enough, piped it, and I saw it land in the fairway. And I was like, I can officially say I've hit a golf ball onto Augusta. And I've hit a ball into Race Creek, because 8, the par 5 down the hill, Race Creek runs in front of the green and it circles around and runs into 12. So, I was like, hey, it's not quite, but it's still cool. It's a cool story.
It's close. So. It's probably closer than 99.99% of people are going to get. So
exactly.
You're a small percentage of people. So
exactly.
But anyways, hey, dude, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing some of your stories. And if you don't listen to the Spurs Up show, probably should. You probably should. So Chris, where can people find you, follow you, listen? Where can they hear what you got going on?
Yeah, so anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can find the Spurs Up Show. I mean, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, whatever other platforms. Like I said, it's everywhere. And then, of course, we're on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Okay, we're on TikTok. We're on a little bit of everything, but at the Spurs Up Show. And then I'm on there personally at CPhilly19, but at the Spurs Up Show is where you can find all that. So basically anywhere. And we're also the SpursUpShow.com. Got a website as well. So nice. Many places to find us. And like I said, I appreciate you, Blair, having me on, and not just talking Gamecocks, but talking golf as well, because I don't really get the opportunity to talk golf with people. And it's fun, because I definitely love it. I definitely love it. Like I said, just being from the area and growing up playing and stuff like that. And it's been fun to follow your content, and you're probably the most golf stuff I get on my feed comes from you. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, you're welcome. I'll keep it coming.
For sure.
All right, dude. Well, thank you for the time.
Absolutely.